An interesting study was done on the issue of money and happiness, and the research was published in the journal Nature Human Behavior. And there's some interesting findings here. So here's what they say. In news that will come as no surprise to cash-strapped individuals the world over, researchers have revealed that there is an optimal amount of money a person needs to be happy. Spoiler, it's a lot. Researchers at Purdue University in Indiana studied data from 1.7 million people in 164 countries and found that in order for a person in the U.S. to be truly happy, they need to be pulling in $95,000 a year. In order to be a little less happy, but have, quote, emotional well-being, basically being happy with your day-to-day life, you need to be drawing in $60,000 to $75,000 per year. Okay, so this is interesting. Now, let me give you some facts, some further facts. And you've heard me reference this one before, so you probably already know it. Half of workers in America make $30,000 a year or less. So because of the structure of our country, half the country, at least, it's more than that, are struggling. They're not going to be as happy because they don't have that comfort level of having some level of financial security. They say once you get to $60,000 to $75,000 a year, you have emotional well-being because, okay, I can pay the bills, I can breathe. $95,000 a year is the happiness threshold. So in other words, if you make $95,000 a year, you're going to have that feeling of like, okay, I'm good. Like, I'm good. I really don't need to worry about paying my bills. I could pay my bills. I could take care of that. So it's almost like you breathe a sigh of relief. But what's interesting is there's no difference between if you make $95,000 and you make $10 million a year. According to the researchers, there's a point of diminishing returns. So as soon as a human being gets to the point where they can know they can pay their bills and they're okay, that feels no different than the person who could pay their bills, buy a Maserati, buy a yacht, and like then there's at a certain point your body goes, as long as we're safe, I'm good. Everything above that is just fucking noise. I don't care. So that's a really interesting fact. That's a really interesting fact in my opinion. Now, what does that mean? So in order for people to reach their optimum happiness in regards to money, you need to be roughly top 15% of income earners in the U.S. So if you make about $100,000, that puts you in the top 15%. So that's interesting. I think that's a really interesting fact. I think it's a shame that our system creates so many poor people and working poor people, and it doesn't create nearly as many middle-class people as it used to. It doesn't create as many upper-middle-class people as it used to. Look, I think a country would be much healthier if we actually reduced the number of billionaires and extreme wealthy people, but we have way more people in the middle class and the upper middle class. So in other words, if we had a wealth distribution that was a lot more like Denmark or Sweden or Norway, I think we'd be much better off and in the aggregate, much more happy than we are now. So top 15% of income earners in the U.S. to really reach that happiness threshold, $60,000 to $75,000 a year to feel emotional well-being. And it's a shame that our system is so rigged against regular people that unfortunately half of workers make $30,000 a year or less.